Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, The Big Weck. Joining us on The Big Weck, Buffalo on the Rise today is Andrew Moquin from Andrew's Jewelers. How you doing?
Good, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you here.
Good
It's a really nice shirt, I have to tell you.
Thank you.
Right off the bat, it looks great. I understand you want to talk, when I think of jewelry, I don't oftentimes think about estate buying, but the estate buying business is really growing right now for you guys. Explain to me a little bit about that.
Well, if you think right now about the boomer generation, you have the greatest transference of wealth that's ever occurred. We're in the precipice of that right now. And the baby boomer generation was very, very big on, luxury items. And so now you have this huge glut, if you will, of valuables, jewelry, flatware, collectibles, antiquities. And the boomers are getting to a point now where they really don't see value in them. Their children are not as big into some of the antiques and some of the valuables. So they're looking for ways to move the items. And with the precious metal prices rising the way they have in the last 2 or 3 years, it's an excellent opportunity to sell those items. So this is one of the reasons why we've grown so much in that department.
Funny that you say that, because I know, when my dad passed or whatever, they say, what about this ring? Do you like this ring? Do you like this? And I'm not a big jewelry person, and a lot of those things, and it probably sounds harsh, don't have a lot of value to me. I remember the experiences more than things like that. But what type of valuables and jewelry are you buying specifically?
So we see a lot of high-grade watches, Swiss watches, Rolex watches, diamonds, pocket watches, broken jewelry, believe it or not, a lot of unwanted broken jewelry, items that are sort of dated. People may have gold necklaces and chains and fashion jewelry that are just out of favor now as far as fashion is concerned, or the styling. And then we're also seeing, believe it or not, a lot of flatware. Sterling silver flatware is, a very big item that we see. And that's partly due to the fact that people entertain differently now. They don't entertain like they did 50, 60 years ago. It's not formal. Everybody sits around a kitchen island and eats off of paper plates, which is really crazy. 60 years ago, there was a formal dining room with a china cabinet, and there was sterling silver in there. People polished it, and then there was crystalware and flatware, and so we see a lot of sterling silver too, which is really interesting.
Really is. When you bring that up, I can remember my mom, when we had specific things going on. She would open up this box, and it was like velvet inside, and the silverware would be in there, right? And you'd only use it for special occasions. So you mentioned some of the jewelry or some of the items that you get are broken. So what do you do with these things after the fact?
So we refine the metals, and we take all the impurities out of the metals. Some of the metal is turned into casting grain that we use in our workshop, and we use that casting grain to make new jewelry, custom jewelry for our showcases. And then we can't use all of the metal we buy, because we buy quite a bit of it. Whatever we don't keep, we wind up selling in the gold market as bullion. And
how do you determine the price?
For the customer, as far as,
correctly.
So we have and this is part of the reason why I believe our business has grown so much, is our process is a very clear and open process. We inspect every item. A lot of times the customers will bring valuables into us and not know what they have. So they'll bring a box of jewelry in, and through the years they've received items, and they don't even know what they've received. And so they'll come in and say, look, I don't know what I have here. Some of it may be costume jewelry, some of it may be genuine. And it's amazing, because some of the items that the customers bring in that they think is real is not, and the items that they think are fake are real. And so we go through painstakingly every single item, and I think that's, again, part of the reason why we've grown so much, because we're very transparent in the process. Our salespeople are very helpful, and we'll sort out anything that's valuable and anything that's authentic and anything that's not. And then we inspect the stones, determine what the diamonds are worth. We weigh each item, test the metals to find out what the metal carat content is. And then we use we weigh everything, and then we have a pricing chart that we use to determine the valuables, the value of the metals and the individual gemstones.
And since you've been in the market so long, I guess there's, you know, the question of credibility with your clients is something that's important,
Yep.
you know, to you as well, right? What about the best piece of advice you can give our viewers when, you know, if they're going through items, they're considering items, maybe they haven't seen items in a long time. You know, I have boxes of things that are, you know, unfortunately in my basement, you know, that may be worth something. So what do you advise they do?
You know, the first thing I tell people is don't assume what you have is not valuable or unworthy of having us look at it. Some people are sort of embarrassed to bring something in because they may feel like, well, this might not have much value. But we tell people, don't worry about that. You know, this is a process. We're here to look through everything. And so bring it all in. The second thing I tell people is, you know, because we do have you'll see a little bit of resistance sometimes where people will say, geez, I feel bad selling that because grandma gave me that.
Yeah,
or my aunt.
value, right.
Yeah. But I say, look, if you haven't worn it in 20 years, you're not going to wear it again. Precious metal prices are at historic highs right now, so capitalize on that. You can take that money and give it to one of your children, or take them on a vacation or family vacation. We've had a lot of people do that. They say, you know what, I'm going to use this money and take the kids on a vacation. You know, so the idea is try not to be too sentimental about it, because if you haven't worn it in 10, 15, 20 years, chances are you're not going to wear it.
All right, Andrew Moquin from Andrews Jewelers, thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you, Joe.
us. For more information, stop into Andrews Jewelers at 4715 Transit Road in Williamsville, or call 716-630-7091. Find out more online at andrewsjewelers.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Andrews Jewelers.